Okay guys, this is my third attempt at making this video on tonsils and adenoids and sinuses. First two attempts, the connection here keeps going out, so I switched off of Wi-Fi and it's still going out. So we're going to try this, and if it doesn't work, then I'm going to do this afternoon. So anyway, I've been meaning to do this last week, but then everything kind of got shelved because I had family in town, so we're doing it today. And I'm doing it specifically per request of my cousin Shauna. So Shauna, this is for you. But we're talking about tonsils and adenoids. So what is the #1 pediatric surgery performed today in the United States? If you answered tonsil and adenoidectomies, you would be correct. So breaking this up, tonsillectomies, there are about 500,000 that are done a year. When we add in adenoidectomies, that puts it up to almost 1.5 million surgeries a year. This is even at an all-time 30-year low for surgeries because it peaked at 1.5 million and then it's gone down since, but obviously not very much. So what are we looking at for cost? Well, according to Blue Cross Blue Shield, an average tonsillectomy is about $5,400. Now, an adenoidectomy will cost you anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000. The good news is, if you do them together, the price doesn't really change, so what a deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's actually going on, what can you do for your kid, and what do the tonsils and adenoids do anyway. So starting with an immune system talk, this is kind of a complicated discussion, so I'm going to try and keep it as basic as I can. So your tonsils and adenoids, they're located at the back of your throat. So I would show you on me, but I was a chronically sick kid before I found chiropractic. I went through the whole ringer of everything that I talk about, so I know what I'm talking about because I lived it. But I don't have tonsils and adenoids. But if you were to look at the back of your throat, you'll see that little punching bag thing, that's your uvula. And then on either side is two masses of tissue, which are your tonsils. Your adenoids you can't see, they're further back, they're higher up. But so you have tonsils back on either side, and then the adenoids, so that forms a ring at the back of your throat. And that ring is your lymph tissue. So lymph tissue circulates immune cells through, and it also samples bacteria, viruses, anything that's airborne or comes in contact with that membrane, and decides, is this harmless, is it harmful, and do I produce an immune response? So breaking down your immune system, you have two basic parts to your immune system. I'm going to show you this. So you have Th1 and Th2. That stands for T helper type 1 and T helper type 2. T helpers are just specific immune cells. So Th1 we're going to call your acquired immunity. Here, let me see if I can get this up. And Th2 is your innate, which means you are born with it. So when you're born, you're predominantly in the Th2 or the innate, and this immune system acts as kind of a grenade system. So if it comes in contact with a bacteria or a virus that it deems harmful, it not only kills that bacteria or virus, but it kills a whole bunch of healthy cells in that area. Th1, that's very targeted, very specific, and a very sophisticated advanced immune system, and that develops as you go throughout life, and as you get older it starts to decrease. But that's really an important immune system. So when you're born though, you're on Th2, you're in your innate immune system. And the tonsils and the adenoids, they're actually part of that Th2 innate, born with, we're just going to call it innate immune system from now on. So that and your spleen, your lymph nodes, and Peyer's patches. And Peyer's patches are just immune patches that are in your small intestine. So your tonsils are mostly active for the first 3 years of life. They continue to be active throughout your childhood, but they shrink as you go into adulthood, and then they're not as active because your acquired immune system is developed and working. So those, like I said, those tonsils are part of that innate immune system. So when you're a kid, and especially if you're going to play with other kids, or you're going to daycare or preschool or wherever, you know that kids sneeze, they cough, they stick things in their mouth. So anything that they breathe in, or let's say they pick up this Lego that another kid just sneezed on, it goes back and it goes over those tonsils, over those adenoids, and they sample it and they say, is this harmful or is it not? And if it's harmful, do I need to produce an immune response? So they keep your kid healthy. So let's bring this back full circle. I have this little thing to help me keep on track, but your tonsils and adenoids, they're there to keep your kid healthy while their acquired immune system is developing. So they're a good thing. So unfortunately, due to a whole host of problems, they end up getting enlarged. And pediatricians, ENTs tell parents, oh, they're not important, just cut them out. It's fine. You know, we don't really know what they're for. Kids do really great without them. But they're really important, actually. They're part of keeping your kid healthy. And when that neck, everything goes back to the neck. So let me just look at where I am here. I talked to a pediatric physical therapist the other day, and she said their number one referral is for torticollis. And you might wonder what torticollis is. Well, torticollis in babies or kids is when their neck is stuck one way. So you might notice on the back of a baby's head there might be uneven hair wear, so they have a patch of baldness, or they might have a flat spot on one side. Well, that's from torticollis. And when they have torticollis, their neck's not moving properly. So they're not going to get the drainage that they're supposed to have, because drainage from the ears and throat happens through movement of the neck. Hi, Kaylin. So if you don't have proper movement of your neck, you're not going to have proper drainage of those tonsils, of those adenoids, and of those sinuses. So what happens is all that builds up and it gets enlarged. So what does surgery do for you? We have, for the tonsils and the adenoids being removed together, the success rate is 50%. 50%. So that's like me saying, hey, I could do this procedure on your child for $5,000 to $7,000, and I could do this procedure for $5,000 to $7,000. I'll put your kid under anesthesia, and I'm going to cut some stuff out in the back of their throat. It might work, might not. Who knows? It's about the same likelihood. And you'd think I'm crazy, but it's done all the time. Almost 1.5 million surgeries per year. Just in reference for those studies where it said there's a 50% success rate, they're measuring, are the kids getting better? Do they have less drainage? Do they have less infections? And they're not. I mean, 50% of them, I guess, are. But another study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, and the Otolaryngology head and neck surgery concluded that removing the adenoids, of kids who frequently got cold, sinus infections, and laryngitis, that's sore throat, is more expensive and does not lead to better health or fewer symptoms than a watchful wait. So it's not more helpful to cut those things out, put yourself through this emotional stress, the financial stress, than just sitting and doing nothing. So then what can you do for your child? That's going to be the question. Well, like I said, a crucial aspect of the immune system, of the lymph system, is movement of that neck. It has to move properly for everything to drain. And chiropractic can help here. My challenge is for this, okay? Do you know that 90% at least of babies have birth trauma? So go on YouTube if you don't believe me. Look up C-sections, look up vaginal deliveries, but especially those C-sections. And this isn't even a thing against the medical field, it's not. Those babies may need to come out that way, but we need to be aware of that they are coming out this way. And think about when you watch those videos and how they pull those babies out, all the pressure that's on those delicate nervous systems, on those delicate skeletal systems, and ask yourself, would you ever pick a baby up like that? And why not? What type of damage would that do to them? So we're causing all this upper neck trauma, and that's leading to this poor drainage. It's the beginning of all of this. Outside of that even, you think kids fall all the time. They bump their heads all the time. They sleep weird. They do crazy ninja moves. So kids need chiropractic. So if we don't do chiropractic, we're jammed up like that, and we get that buildup. We get buildup of fluid in the ears. And then after so many rounds of ear infections, I say, you need to cut those out. I'm sorry, not cut those out. We need to do the tubes. And the tubes, they force drainage down the throat, over those tonsils, over those adenoids, and those adenoids and tonsils aren't meant to take that load because everything's inflamed from the lack of movement. It's not draining properly, so there's more fluids being pushed over that, and they become enlarged, and they become painful, and then it's, let's cut them out. Once that's done, that drainage continues, and that leads to things like asthma. And I know I've been there. I was one of those kids before chiropractic. So, I recently spoke to a mom about her child's success with chiropractic, and she said it was fine for me to share this. Her kid was facing tonsillectomy, adenoidectomy, and their tonsils were really enlarged. So I have a picture. Let's see if I can get this the way. Okay, so if you look at the one that's deeper in the mouth, you can see that the tonsils are really enlarged. That's before chiropractic care. The one where it's a little bit more zoomed out, the tonsils you can see are smaller. Remember, they're on the back, on either side, next to that little punching bag thing, the uvula. That's after a month and a half of chiropractic care. That's after a month and a half of the body functioning the way it was made to function, so that fluids can drain the way they're made to drain and not overwork those tonsils, not overwork those adenoids. So that's awesome. I was really excited about that she documented that. So that's all I pretty much have for today. Get your kid into a chiropractor. I can help. Any of us docs at Peak Potential can help. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them. We care. We want your kids to get better. So if you have any comments or questions, just leave them. I'll get back to them and answer them. If you have anything that you want me to talk about, just let me know. But have a great day.